Like when you're in an airplane and you think about if it's going to crash, like, could I grab onto a tree branch? The
answer is no.
Last week survived. When the elevator crashed to the bottom floor, he jumped.
This is the Best Friends Ask Why podcast
with Aaron
and Dylan.
It's so tight!
Oh, it's going. Welcome to the 13th episode of the Best Friends Ask Why podcast.
Lucky number 13!
It's
the
unlucky.
first ever.
It's 13.
No, it's lucky.
No,
it's lucky.
We can't have.
It's lucky.
No. Well, this is episode 14 because we're all going to die after this episode because it's 13.
Yeah, 13 reasons why.
13 reasons why we can't release this episode.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
With Jordan Tisdale. Woo! What's up, dude?
Yeah.
How's it going?
Nothing much. Kind of. I'm finally here.
Yeah, dude. It's fucking awesome.
I've only been mentioned like 4 times on the podcast, and I get an invite now.
Is there going to be like a high score thing? Are you going to, like, you were already talking about putting together a podcast bingo.
I feel like someone else needs to work on like a high score list of mentions, like just name drops, like see who actually gets name dropped the most.
It's definitely going to be like Mariah, Devin, you, and Ray.
It seems like that's
there. You guys are
pretty heavy front runners at this point.
Gunning for first place.
Yeah.
I just play heavy favorites. Yeah.
I don't mention anybody because fuck them.
You also just don't talk at all.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's great because I'm quieter than Aaron, so now Aaron's going to have a time to shine today.
What are you talking? He's just going to run the whole fucking
Yeah, basically, we're just going to...
Captive audience.
I didn't mentally prepare for this.
For what? The ganging up on you?
No, for the fact that I didn't...
That you have to carry the show?
That's just front run. I guess it is like a natural quality that I have, but...
like you're already doing it right now.
Am I?
You didn't even let me interject after you said something. You just kept going. Oh, look at that! Holy shit, it's so quiet.
Shut the fuck up. You got something stuck in your teeth.
Oh, is it lettuce? You want to get it?
Here, let me get it with my tongue. So, we were going to do a solo podcast today, but we went to dinner last night, and it was delicious. And I was just like, dude, it would be so much better if you just came on, because, yeah, we didn't invite you.
Yeah, you did.
No.
I got the invite at Denny, or Applebee's, like, weeks ago, bro.
Well, I don't know why you weren't told.
That time we didn't invite you because
no, and you told me before I went.
Farts.
But I was like, snowboard is life. The POW.
That's fair.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But I wasn't inviting you. I was just telling you that I was going to hang out with people, like, away from you.
No, you said, hey, there's family dinner tonight if you want to go.
No, it's like, you smell like farts, and I don't want you to come to dinner.
He's got a nose piercing now. He thinks he's all bad and rude.
I said, like, I took a I always take just dumb selfies of myself. I took a picture and I sent it to my cousin Jaden. He's just like, he looks like, well, I'm going to change the joke a little bit because he released a goodish joke and I'm going to add to it. But he was like, Dylan, it looks like you're going through your 15-year-old punk phase like 10 years too late.
That's fair.
So I've been like doing the keto thing for a long time now, but I've been super fucking off lately. Not super, but we went to snowboarding on Saturday.
Yeah,
we went up to Baker, which is so fucking fun. We went up to Mount Baker to go snowboarding, and it's really difficult when traveling to find keto meals. When we were in Salem, it was borderline impossible. Like, everywhere I went, I would have just had to get like a burger patty every single place.
There's enough dumb hipsters in Bellingham. You should be a little better, right?
Yeah, Bellingham. We were at Baker, so we were at Mount Baker,
which is like 45 minutes to an hour.
I know. I've drove up there for autocross.
Yeah, he
before.
It's
a fun drive at 5 a.m. when it's like basically still dark.
Yeah.
Especially when
it's super windy and it's like, what, 25 miles an hour you're supposed to go?
Yeah, that doesn't happen. But,
I've been in the GTA.
Like we were talking about it yesterday, like the trip that I took up there with Taylor, and I mean, I think I had 45 minutes sleep before. we were drinking until like midnight or 1. We're like, we're going to autocross tomorrow. Let's go. And so I had to go home, pack up all my shit, and get the car ready. And then leave at like 4 a.m.
Fuck that.
I slept for 45 minutes, went up there.
And then he has to operate a large motor vehicle.
Yeah, I have to drive fast, like intentionally fast, through the parking lot up there at Mount Baker.
So, yeah, they like cone off autocross. I don't know if you know much about autocross, but for people who don't know, autocross is like, it's like racing without the consequences, pretty much,
of crashing into things.
Yeah, so you have time limits, or it's not a time limit, but they time you.
Yeah, it's a timed event.
Yeah, so they set up like cones, right?
Yep.
And so it's set up how the classes and stuff work.
So you're in basically. It's a cone course in a parking lot, so I mean the worst thing you're ever going to hit is a cone.
Yeah.
And I mean you might scuff a bumper. It's not really going to do anything bad. So that's always nice. It's not as hard as on your tires or your brakes as like a big full track would be, because it's a 45-minute course and you're not heating up the engine too much. So it's really safe to do with your daily driver, and it's a ton of fun. But basically you can kind of just find a local club around. I mean, around here there's Bellingham Chuckanut Sports Car Club, and then SECA runs some stuff, and I think even at Evergreen in Monroe they are starting to do stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't they have like all the drifting and shit in Evergreen?
Yeah, they do. They have that too.
We are gonna go to another event this year for sure.
Yeah.
I'm actually my buddy Jeff from work is like best friends with that Tire Slayer Snyder guy, the Nate Snyder, and I'm gonna see if I can get him on the podcast to come talk about
that. Would be pretty sweet.
Like that's definitely on my list.
I've always been interested in like how, because I had friends in high school who were always like working on cars, souping them up, and then getting new cars and shit. I'm like, how the fuck do you afford this? Like, just the idea of starting out in something like that is so daunting.
Yeah, I mean, especially drifting, where I mean, you're gonna break stuff. Like that's the whole. That seems like almost the point.
Yeah.
For some people.
Yeah.
So I mean, where autocross and actual track racing, the point is to not break stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like, things are gonna happen. You're gonna have to replace parts faster than you normally would, but
you're not. I mean, slamming into walls.
You're not. You're not intentionally seeing how close you can get to the wall with the back of your car. Like, you know.
It is crazy to me. There's so many kids who do it, and so I do wonder about that. That's definitely something I want to be. I'd be interested about, like the beginning when it's all grassroots, like figuring out like how the hell you're paying for.
Yeah. That was my fucking thing. Like in high school, seeing people with no part-time job or anything. Well, maybe like a shitty part-time job.
Yeah.
But having like GTIs or fucking Jettas or whatever that they were souping up to go drift and shit.
Well, they just do the same thing.
Not those cars, but other cars.
Yeah.
Those are front-wheel drive.
They do the same thing that most people do with food, where you're like, oh, do I cook dinner or do I go get a Qdoba? And then you go to Qdoba, and they just, instead of that, they're just on Amazon being like, I have $55 left in my account. Well, Amazon before Amazon, but they'd be on eBay and be like, oh, there's this K&N air filter for $40. I have 47, and they just spent all the money that they have.
That's more or less it. They just kind of live on a ramen diet, from what I've seen.
Okay.
Well, that's kind of how it happens. Just when you're like a hobbyist,
when you're passionate about shit.
Yeah, if you're just super hyped about stuff, you just end up spending. Because you like want to have the best things related to that. Oh, and also most of those kids you're talking about had Civics, so baseline those weren't that expensive.
True.
And then they'd probably just like cut the catalytic converter off so that it's like louder and shit. I don't know how that works, but I don't.
You could, I mean, but
they're just like fucking with like
little
just like
shit.
bullshit bolt-ons from China, because they're just like, we want it to sound louder, and
I mean, just some skunk tooth suspension parts, drop it low. I mean, there's, I don't know. It depends on
cut the coils. Yeah, they don't, or like they don't actually
cut the springs.
Cut the springs. Yeah, they don't actually buy sport springs. They just shave them off.
eBay, slap a fancy sticker on.
eBay, eBay coilovers for like a old Honda are like $400. I mean, it's a joke at this point. They're not great coilovers by any means, but they're cheap.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can make your car as low as you want.
So you're kind of similar to me in the serial hobbyist thing.
A little bit, I mean, I've had a whole selection of them over the years.
What was like? I mean, like cars has been around with you for like a really long time. Is there like a reason that, or I mean, like cars are sick, so you don't really need a reason to think. Like, I've been super into cars lately, and I don't care about cars at all. But just like I can understand for some reason, like dudes with testosterone, you hear loud engines and you're just like, this is fucking exciting.
Boner. Yeah.
That's why I want to go to DriftCon again, because when we heard that what is it, the LS1, or no, what's it called that they put in,
In which one?
They put in that BMW.
Oh, the E36. Yeah, it was an LS variant motor. I don't remember which
but
one.
it fucking squealed. Like, it was
Yeah.
so loud and insanely brutal. It gives you that same feeling that when you're listening to like really heavy music. It's just so gnarly and overpowering, and your testosterone just shoots through the fucking roof.
And that beautiful techno violet purple.
That car was
that's like a beautiful
gorgeous.
M3 color. It's like my favorite M3 color they've ever done.
I think my favorite is that weird teal one.
The 46, the Laguna Seca blue.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's like really fucking bright.
Yeah.
I really like that color. I saw one yesterday when we were driving to Shoreline.
There's not too many of them, and I'm a fan of that one too. But like the generation before, they had that purple. That's
that one's
the
like
generation.
I didn't think I liked the generation before, but when we saw that one there, I was like, oh, this thing's actually really fucking cool.
And
Because
then,
I'm a
like,
big fan of the E30s because they have that like super boxy.
Yeah, super boxy, super round headlights. They're perfect.
They have that old school like Audi Quattro look, kind of like Audi Quattro was all boxy.
Yeah, well, I mean,
as
it's
shit.
this. Same generation and everything. So, but there's a couple of classes that are like spec classes for racing those. There's Spec E30 that basically you take an old E30 325 and build it to specification and then race against a whole bunch of other people that have the exact same car.
So it's all skill.
Yeah, so it's not who can spend the most money on parts. It's who can actually drive the car the best.
That's
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. And they have the same thing with Miatas and a few other different classes. So it makes the barrier to entry to actual wheel-to-wheel racing a little lower.
Yeah.
And it's not an arms race, which, I don't want to get in. If I ever have a chance to do that, I don't want to be in an arms race with a doctor or a lawyer.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to win.
Yeah.
True story. Yeah, but like, where did like the fiending for cars get into? Like, where did that come into play?
I have no idea. Like, it kind of just, I mean, I'd been looking at Craigslist since I was like 11 or 12, like jonesing for a car.
Yeah.
And then it's just constantly been there and constantly grown. And I mean, YouTube never.
Your dad wasn't like a
help.
gearhead or anything like that?
I mean,
no one in your family really who's like a huge gearhead?
Not really. I mean, my dad can work on a house, but he can't really work on a car.
Your dad can work on a house really goddamn well, though.
Yeah, exactly. But he can't really work on a car very well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've never had it really from him. But, I mean, I don't know. I was always taking shit apart and stuff. Like, I think I took the training wheels off my brother's bike when I was like 5. And so he would be like
Josh
4 or something. And I mean, literally, I couldn't ride without training wheels, but I took it off his bike and had him try.
You got this. I believe in you.
Let's try this.
Yeah, that was a theme of my childhood, was basically I was the mastermind and Josh would try things.
It shows. Yeah. That's awesome.
Shit.
So, like, your first car was what?
Saab 900S.
That thing is cool.
Yeah, I love that thing. I still love the company, but I mean, they went bankrupt. GM ruined them. They went bankrupt and tried to sell to Skyper, which is a really weird, I think, Danish supercar company that you've probably never heard of.
Yeah, no, definitely have.
That didn't really work out, but their pre-GM cars are beautiful. They're designed by engineers for engineers and architects, to be honest. Like, more architects drive Saabs than any other car.
They're like weird looking but classy at the same time.
Yeah, and they're unbelievably safe. I mean, like,
they're like made.
They put
of like,
Volvo to shame. Like,
it seems like they're made of like a block of granite. They just carved out the interior.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when they took them rally racing, like, strength wise, they legally had to put a roll cage in it, but strength wise, they didn't need to. Like, they could roll the thing and it didn't compress enough that they would need a roll cage. But
wasn't there that episode of Top Gear where they just
after Saab died, they dropped an old E30 BMW and a Saab upside down on their roofs from like 15 feet.
Yeah.
And the Saab compressed like 4 or 5 inches, and the BMW was just flat to the
they literally they picked it like 10 feet in the air at least and just dropped it out of a crane, and it just went like a little bit, like if you when you drop a soda can and you know it just like kind of crumples a little bit.
I mean, like, the windows blew out, but like you could just kind of crawl nicely out.
Yeah.
And the BMW would be flat. Like, there would be nothing above your belly button left.
Suck it, Germans. Where's Saab made out of?
Germany.
No.
He's Sweden.
Yeah,
or
they're
something.
Swedish.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is there other Swedish car companies?
Volvo.
Volvo. Okay.
Yeah.
Never been a huge
And
fan.
Koenigsegg, I guess.
There's
I mean,
a
but that's
bunch of-
Those are
that's a
out there.
very
Yeah, it's a big leap.
Yeah.
From Saab to Koenigsegg.
well.
Have you
Hey,
ever seen
Saab
it?
makes
No.
jets. Saab makes jets.
Yeah.
They make like the Harrier
know
fighter.
what
And
that is.
stuff.
Koenigsegg is like is a very cool like alien spaceship car. Pretty much, it has a super
okay.
crazy high speed, and it's like a transformer car. It looks
So it's a car that only millionaires can afford.
straight up for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean millionaire plus. Like you're looking
Okay.
at billionaire stuff. These cars are $1 million plus
Oh,
cars.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
They're
They're like
individually
Bugatti
hand built
level.
and like literally they don't have plastic buttons. They have like milled aluminum buttons with like tiny drill holes so you can see the light coming through them. Like
Holy shit.
yeah, they're insane.
They're
And-
insanely cool.
dang.
Like I'm not a big fan of supercars. I never have been a huge fan of them.
Yeah.
They're just too out there. I really like simpler cars. Like M3s are really. I like that the Chevy sedan that came out a couple years ago. I think it was called the SS. Because Hitler and. But it was like a V8. I think like a V8 with. It was just like super fucking powerful sedan. But
Yeah.
it's just a sedan with just a serious growl. I like those kind of cars the best.
Well, Australia's been doing that for years. It's just a matter of like the Holden stuff. Like I mean, it's Chevy. Like they've been making like the Ford Falcon and the I can't remember what the Holden one is, but basically like big sedans with big V8s has been just a staple of Australia forever, and for some reason we just don't have it here.
Well, that's like a big theme in
Like
that
the
Up
old,
to Speed show. Is James Pumphrey's always like, "Fuck America," right? Because we never get any of the cool
Yeah,
shit.
well, like the Pontiac G8 was like
that car was cool.
like that was basically a
I still
rebrand
see
of
them and they're fucking
the Holden
loud and
Commodore.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
pretty sure it's a Commodore, but the V8 supercar racing in Australia is really big, and like basically it's a competition between two American manufacturers with big American V8s just fucking ripping through Australia.
Just two people.
Yeah.
It's all,
Like Bathurst is probably one of the
well,
coolest
like
races
the,
I've
like
ever seen.
I just like those big bodied cars, like the CTSV. I
Yeah.
like that car. It's really cool. There's just a lot of those just like bigger sedans with
Yeah, I mean,
serious punch. Are
It's an
cool
American
as fuck.
classic. Like
Yeah.
just having like a big engine in a big car.
Yeah.
Like that's
Well,
America.
there's something that like the sound of a Ferrari just doesn't excite me the same way that like the growl of something else does. Like I really like the sound of like an Audi R8, but I think that's also just because I really like the way the Audi R8 looks.
Yeah.
But typically those higher registered sounds don't recognize to me as well as the
The low
lower
growls.
growl ones. Yeah. Like the demon noise, the
Pushrod
Dodge
engines.
demon noise is just like, oh my god.
Yeah, American pushrod engines versus like actual technology
Yeah, it's like
in
when it's
Europe.
like, when it's like straight up. Yeah, when you go down to like when you look at the numbers, they do not do nearly as well as the other ones do. Realistically, right?
It depends on what you're talking about. I mean, like the Corvette still wins or places really well in Le Mans in the sports car class like every year. I mean,
Is Le Mans the 24-hour one?
yeah, 24 hours of Le Mans. So I mean, like they're still competitive and they can build competitive cars out of these things. But I mean, like it's just different. I mean, no American company is going to win Le Mans prototype with the engines that we're talking about. I mean, they're all being dominated by diesels, like diesel electric stuff, like hybrids
Yeah.
at this point.
Well, all those supercars seem to be going to hybrid too. After like Tesla just like flipped the shit upside down when they're like, "Oh hey, you like this sedan? Oh, we put the letter P on it, right? It's like the P model. Yeah, like we put the letter P on it and it can go fucking 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds." And you're like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck?" And then now they're coming out with the Tesla Roadster next year. It's only $250,000. Only like there's no fucking way I
Only.
can afford that.
Yeah.
But
Only a
realistically,
house.
when you look at it though, that's like I'm pretty sure that's less than like a 911 GT3. I feel like a
Yeah, I
GT3
mean,
is
that's
probably a little bit more
Basically
than that.
the same, similar
It goes
price.
0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds.
Yeah, it's insane, but also you can only drive it for how long?
True story.
That's your downside of it. But
Yeah.
I mean, it is an
For
amazing
now.
car, and that's the thing is like they're starting an arms race,
Yeah.
and that's an arms race that we really need.
Well, Porsche is working on supposedly they're building in a fully electric car as well.
Yeah.
I'm really stoked to see
Because
that.
I mean, they did the hybrid
Yeah.
already, like
Is
their
the
hybrid
918
supercar.
a hybrid?
Yeah, that thing's
that
insane.
Thing,
So I mean, like,
I mean, like, I get it. Like, I know Jeremy Clarkson doesn't care for Porsches. I'm a huge fucking fan of Porsches. If I had $1 billion, like, I don't have dream cars. When people are like, Dylan, what's your dream car? It would be legit a Toyota Tacoma or a 4Runner. Like, the same car that I want now.
Oh, I get it.
It would be
my car that I would get if I had any car I could ever have and $1 billion was a 1991 black Saab 900 SPG 3-door, and that would be it. Like,
that's awesome.
With the crappy looking wheel, like three spoke wheels and everything. Like, I would want it
like
just perfect and classic.
Like,
and
maybe like an
that would be it.
80s, like an 80s Land Cruiser. I would be super hyped about. Like, maybe I'd have Icon build it. You know what Icon is?
Yeah.
They make like $400,000 cars that literally never break, and they're hand built. Like, if I could get just a Land Cruiser or whatever that looked like the old one, but it was fresh off the thing, that would be ideal for me. But I have one car that costs a stupid amount of money that I would absolutely buy if I had $1 billion, and it's a Porsche Singer. Like, they just blow my mind every time I look at the pictures.
That's the old, like, air cool looking one, right? Or
And they're like the same amount of money as a Bugatti. Like, they're $1 million.
Jesus
and they're
Christ.
back ordered for like 4 years because they hand build and hand stitch every single piece of them. They are like, it's literally like craftsmanship, and then they're just like, let's do it to a car. And Porsche sued them because they're doing it too well.
Yeah.
They take all the Porsches and they started just branding them as Singers because they're not even close to Porsches at this point. Like,
they don't share that many parts anymore at that point.
They're like it's pretty much, it's almost as if though, like they I was watching this video on Donut Media about this Dodge Challenger. It's called the Evolution, I believe, and this company just laser scanned a like a 1969 Dodge Charger, and then they just no, maybe it was a Camaro, but then they just built the whole thing to spec, completely out of carbon fiber. Every single panel is made out of carbon fiber, and then they put like the Viper engine in it, and like they put together the craziest fucking muscle car ever, and it's on like the suspension of the new Corvette. And this is like, it's like a resto modded, but it's built from the ground up, so it's not a Camaro, but it just looks identical to one in dimension. And that's pretty much what Singer's doing, but with Porsches, and they're fucking gorgeous. Like, literally, I would be scared to sit in one just because I know how often I just have like dirt on my jeans or some shit. Like, you're just gonna fuck up this absolutely gorgeous thing. I'd have to have a butler who cleaned me off with like compressed air and shit before I got
took a lint roller and
pretty much.
You just have to get into a hazmat suit to drive your car.
Yeah.
They're absolute works of art, and people do that with so many different things in life, but that is like the one time with a car that I was like, oh, that's
nice.
it's tasty.
My dream car is just a STI.
Yeah,
Real simple.
they're cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. No, they're very cool. But my dream, if I was going to have an STI, I'd also want like an STI that I got the people who worked in Group B. And then I was like, hey, do that to this.
Oh, yeah, I definitely want to do stuff to it.
Where it just absolutely squeals, like shoots fire on the back. You're like, who's this fucking asshole driving to Starbucks?
I was actually at Boeing because like sitting on the train, sitting there waiting for like something, I don't remember, but we were sitting there and it was right when it snowed, and some dude was in one of the big Boeing parking lots after it was basically empty, and he's just sitting there doing donuts in his STI. He's getting on it pretty good, and then it's actually shooting flames. I'm just sitting there watching, and I'm like, this is actually kind of fun.
This is great.
Yeah.
It's awesome watching people torture the things that they own.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to have to deal with it breaking, but you get to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, that drift events are very fun.
Yeah.
But like, if you were in that car and if I was in a car and I could just hear that red line and bouncing there all the time, I'd be like, oh shit, like, this is bad news. But you watch other people do it and you're like, good job! Don't fuck your shit up!
Yeah, or they just like hit the wall with
Yeah, there's a dude in like a G30, or no, he was in a Nissan 350, yeah, and he just like hit the fucking wall hella hard, and I was like, oh, that sucks. Like, it's like a reasonably nice car, and like other people have like S13s and S14s. They're 240s, Nissan 240s. They're like the classic drift car. they're like super cheap, and everyone seems to be going with those, and then they always try to resell them for 10 grand when they're not worth 10 grand.
Yeah.
I just know that because of memes.
Yeah, they're clean, but they're 4 different colors.
Yeah. And but this guy is driving like a Nissan 350, and you're like, this is significantly more expensive than some of these other ones here. And it's probably not as.
It's what you think, though, but it's
Yeah.
not anymore.
It's
like, because I mean, the 350's been out for a long time.
That's true.
It's actually not too expensive to buy an older one anymore.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Do people get that? Do people get that car just because it's rear wheel drive, or is there
I mean,
like?
yeah, I mean, it's rear wheel drive, and they're relatively inexpensive, and I mean, it's got a V6. You can make okay power out of it.
What
They're heavy, but you know.
So you're about to have a Nino. You're building a child within your wife's uterus currently.
Correct. Yes. Correct.
So let's just skip over the baby part, and we'll go straight into what. No, we can talk about that later. But you have been wanting a project car for like a really long time.
Yeah.
And so I want to complete the car thing before we go to other stuff. Do you have an idea of what you want like your next project car to be? Is that seems like a hard choice?
It's an unbelievably hard choice.
M3.
Well, yeah, but the problem is M3s are more expensive because for some reason, well, E30s are stupid expensive because they didn't make very many M3s in the E30s. E36s, they made quite a few of them, but for some reason people think they're collectible now.
Oh.
And I don't know why, because they made enough of them where they really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But people seem to think they are, so getting a good one is kind of few and far between, and a lot more money than it's really worth.
Is that the purple one that we saw? Is it
Yeah.
that one? Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, you can buy like like an M3. They'll be like, all right, I want $5
The
grand.
owner
for
of that car, I believe his name is Chase Schmidt.
Mm-hmm.
He on Instagram, I don't know exactly, but if you look up Chase Schmidt, you might see a purple BMW, and it's very cool. And he's been building the shit out of it. So I definitely want to see it again in action this year because it looks insane.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So continue. Sorry.
I lost where I was.
You were
at.
talking about your possible project car and how
Yeah.
getting a hold of one of those BMWs is difficult at the moment.
Yeah, I mean they're expensive. I mean, buying a 325 or 328 of the same year and generation, I mean, you're gonna spend like $1,500 compared to $5,000 for the same exact looking car, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, you lose a little bit of engine performance, you lose a little bit of suspension stuff, but there's not enough major differences. And I mean, it's the same chassis. You can change suspension and engine parts.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not until the one after that they kind of bridged the gap between the 328 or whatever and then the M3, right? Because I feel like the next generation, James Pumphrey from Donut Media was talking about that, and he was like, the last 2 years the M3 was like insanely awesome. Like everyone was like, this thing's so sick, and it sold like crazy. But then when they made that one, like it was like BMW was like, oh, they are different, but let's make them really different now. Like supposedly in that next one, I believe would that be E42?
46.
46. Okay, so that one got like a huge upgrade. So is that one like?
I think they're more different, but I mean, it's just a matter of what I want to do because I've always been considering a Miata, and I still am, just
They're
because
cool, man.
they're small and my garage has too much crap in it already. And like if I want to park it inside, I need something small enough that I can park it inside.
Yeah.
So, and they're cheap. There's parts everywhere.
Yeah, there is.
There's spec classes if I want to do that. There's a lot of autocrossers in Miatas. So I mean, you have someone that can go kind of head to head with and feel like, see where you're really at.
Yeah.
So that would be nice.
They also have like a really short. What is it? What's it about the Miata that's like supposedly because they have like a really short wheelbase? They're like really fucking maneuverable.
It's like a go-kart, basically. Yeah. I mean, like, I went to the autocross up in Bellingham this was probably 4 years ago or something. And it was at the airport overflow lot. And I went with two of the guys I worked with at the water district at the time. And one of them had a Toyota X-Runner pickup truck, which is hilarious to see a pickup truck on a racetrack.
Like Toyota decided that they're like, oh, Tacomas are cool and they're selling really good, but let's make like a track version.
Yeah, let's make it lower and give it like a ton of grip and just, have fun, you guys.
They have like a big body kit on it too.
Yeah.
It's like a block. It's
all
like
blacked
a brick
out. It's
that they
they're
just
so pretty.
set on the ground. They're really cool, actually.
Yeah, they're amazing. Yeah, and then also a Corvette And I mean, so they're big cars. Both of those are. And like they had a tiny little bus stop chicane, and I was the only one that could go through it at a decent speed because it was
What does that mean?
So you know how a bus stop or like a bus pulls off to the side of the road?
Yeah.
Imagine basically cones at the entrance and exit of how they would pull off to the side and come back out.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
a bus stop chicane.
Okay. That's so yeah.
So it's kind of like, so if you kind of go off to the left, and then go straight a little bit, and then
I
go
can
back to
understand.
the
So
right.
like those cars, just because they were bigger,
But it was like a really small, like basically a little box. So I mean, you had to turn all the way around it, but it was so much for them to get in without clipping any cones because
So you're
they're
saying
so wide
you
and
performed
long.
well in that time.
Yeah, because
but,
I was in my tiny little MR2.
Yeah. So like, but the Miatas would have. Also,
The Miatas
that's what
did
you're
really
saying.
well, too.
Okay. Yeah.
But where like big long wheelbase cars and stuff are fine on bigger tracks, but when you're dealing with really small tight corners, you want
don't do
something
well.
want something small and nimble.
Yeah. What drew you to the MR2 initially?
It was $2,000 and right down the road, and I had money because I had.
Well, it seemed like
just
you were looking
started
for
working.
one for a while before that, though. Like
I was looking for something. I wasn't. The MR2 definitely wasn't an idea. It was like a concept of an idea. Like it was on a list of things that I was kind of looking at.
Oh, okay.
And my
And then
dad
you
was
saw
taking
it,
my
yeah.
dad was taking my sister to soccer practice up at Linwood High School, and just it was parked on that road to the new Linwood High School. And, and my dad's like, and he just sent me pictures of it one day while I was at work, and I was like,
Oh,
all right,
that's
well,
it.
Yeah, I'll go look at it. So
How was that thing when you got it? Like, it was fun to drive, but like, did you have to do a lot of work to it or anything like that?
no, I mean, I did basic maintenance stuff, replaced the brake pads with nicer pads, braided steel lines, a short shifter, and new wheels and tires. And I drove it up to Bellingham, raced it a few times, drove it over to the peninsula, raced it with SCCA on their solo course, and then also did some time trial stuff with it.
That MR2s are really cool.
And
like,
and it's great because I mean, like it only let me down once, and that was because I was bad about maintaining it.
it's like Toyota made like a small sports car. They kind of made like a budget Ferrari practically.
It's really what it was. I
Yeah.
mean, and it was, but yeah, the only time it ever let me down was while I was driving to work down in Seattle. I had a belt squeal, and I knew I needed to replace the alternator belt, and it was starting to fray a little bit, and the alternator belt let go underneath the convention center downtown in Seattle, and I saw the alternator belt just roll. So I was like, that's going to be a problem. And I was just driving down to like the like basically where Studio 7 is. There's a yard right down there. So I pulled in, and like all the lights are starting to flicker just a little bit, and I'm getting and there's a train in the way, and the crossing is down, and I'm like, my car's gonna die literally like right on the wrong side of the tracks.
fucking
And so it luckily stayed alive until I could pull into the parking spot, and then I tried to start it, and it was
Done.
yeah. And that was just me not actually replacing the belt when I needed to. Like I literally had the belt sitting on top of my gun safe. I just didn't do it.
But like rotaries are known for being like not reliable, right? Is that just true when it's not a Toyota? I guess I don't know.
You mean rotaries are
Because MR2
Mazdas.
is a rotary, right? Oh, I thought it was.
Nope.
Okay, it was mid-engine.
Yeah, it's
right?
mid-engine.
Okay.
It's basically a front-wheel drive car that's flipped around.
Weird.
Like they use it's mounted sideways like a front-wheel drive. It's got like basically the same transaxle. It's just backwards.
Okay, so
like
so
it's
they use
it's behind you.
So they use it to power the rear wheels at that point. Then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's nice.
weird.
And it's one of the only, I mean, mid-engine cars that most people can afford.
Yeah. This is a really cool looking car though too. They
Yeah.
still like when you had that one, I still think they look super
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah. I mean, that one looked like garbage, but it was great.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I didn't really care what happened to it. I mean, I went out and hit cones with it and drove it around, and like.
Were you daily driving that one?
Well,
that point?
I had the 91 Honda Accord too.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was kind of back and forth between
Oh
it.
yeah,
but
your dad was like commuting in the Accord, and then you were
yeah.
just like,
I would just kind of drive one, like, kind of back and forth and stuff. And then, like, I mean, Dakota's car went out, like, he had to put it in the shop for like a week or something. And so he just, like, he borrowed the MR2 for a while. Like, I mean, it was kind of a weird loan out car.
Yeah.
Because I think Chloe still had the bus or it might have been the Cabrio
Okay.
at that point. But either way, it was in the shop constantly anyways. So she drove the MR2 quite a bit too.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a loan out car also.
Yeah. Aaron had a Jetta one.
That was a piece of shit.
But he drove it like it was a fucking Ferrari. Like an asshole.
Yeah.
Aaron was like the 3-lane, 1 blinker, 3-lane.
Nice.
I remember I hadn't seen Aaron like multiple years, and I'm staying at my cousin and Jaden's house, and I needed a ride somewhere, and he lived in Marysville, and so somebody must have called him. It was weird because I like literally hadn't seen him in a very long time since we lived on the farm together. It feels like I had just recently gotten back from Massachusetts, where I lived for like 2 years before I came back here, and Aaron comes and picks me up, and I was like, "Hey man, what's up?" And then like we kind of sat silently in the car. And then he just drove like a fucking bat out of hell all the way there, just like, like just switching lanes. And I was like, well, should I talk to him? Like, do I just hold on? Oh, what's going on here?
Yeah, it was a goal of mine to like hit as close to 120 as I possibly could every time I got on the freeway.
I mean, like, I feel like I've outgrown that. It's fun though. Like, it's nice to.
Me too.
I don't know. I mean, I did a bunch of that when I was younger, but I think racing really helps.
Yeah.
Like, if you have an outlet and you know, like, all right, cool, I'm going to go do this and I'm not going to get a ticket.
Yeah.
Like, then
It's all good.
it's worth it to save that like $120 on a speeding ticket and be like, well, I need to change my oil and like replace my brakes anyways, so now I'll do that instead of paying a ticket.
Yeah.
Music will get me every once in a while. I'll be listening to like the right music. It'll get me hyped, and I'll be like, I'll definitely start going closer to redline. But I've never redlined my car once, like at all. It's a manual. I'm just like, nope. I just stay far away from it. I just drive like a fucking grandma.
I drive like a fucking grandma now.
You really do.
Like I'm at the speed limit in most places.
I'm not, but you know.
Yeah. I'm also not used to Washington driving anymore. Like Germany, they'll get you for going like a kilometer over.
Yeah.
Like, they'll get you.
I feel like cops barely look at you unless you're going like 17 over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be worth the ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been pulled over by cops going like way over the fucking speed limit. Lady cops will fuck you. Lady cops straight up will fuck you. Every time I've been pulled over by a lady cop, ticket immediately. But dude cops, like, I think they're just trying to take down the patriarchy, you know? So they're just it's like, fuck this white boy. Now they're going to see this nose ring and they're just going to shoot me.
Yeah.
But I got pulled over by like a dude on the way to work, and I was going way over the speed limit, and he just goes like, "Where are you headed so fast?" And I was like, "Work," and he's like, "Get the fuck out of here," and he just let me go again. I was like, "Fuck yeah, man!"
Yeah, I had that experience once on Lowell Larimer. I was going considerably over the speed limit.
It's like a 35. I was actually proud of you the other day. I told you to get off on Lowell. It's a 35. And when we were getting in, like you passed the speed limit sign and it says 35, and I felt Aaron hit his brakes, and I was just like, here we go.
It's unbelievably painful at 35.
Yeah, and then he sped up to like 45, 50-ish. I was like, okay. Like, I drive like 55 on that road the whole time. I've driven with you in the GTI because the GTI's got that. It feels kind of like a race car. And you're just like,
yeah. That was when it still had the tune and the tires on it, and I think we took it at probably an average speed of like 75 to 80.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
The fastest I've ever gone is in my mom's VR6 though. She had that. It was a GTI.
The Mark IV.
It was a Mark IV. It was really fucking cool. I loved it. It had like a sub in the back too, so I just listened to like Bass Nectar back when I was like, "Oh, dubstep sick," and then I'd yeah, but there's this road over. It's like called like 51st, I think. 51st over by 180th over by Clearview. It's like a long straight, but it kind of does this like wavy thing.
Yeah.
And you come around the corner, you turn it so you're coming from like a Canyon Park area, and it's like this really, really tight left turn that you have to take at 15 miles an hour, and then it's like literally like probably a mile long road.
Yeah.
And I turned that, and this car was it had a MagnaFlow exhaust on it, so you could hear how fun it was too. So it wasn't like anything crazy, but it just sounded like it was a fun car at the same time. So I was just like, here we go. whop, and you're just like, I was redlining that car every fucking second I could. Like every red light, I was like, red light, red line. Like just like once it hit green, I was just powering it. But I think I got up to like a $1.25 on a 35.
Jesus Christ.
I was fucking flying. Like and I still had I feel like I still had another gear, or I still had like half. I was surprised that this car could still do more. But the wave part, I went down, dipped into it, and when I came up, I could feel my suspension go like, I didn't come off the ground, but it just lifted really, and I was like, oh, like,
you were like at that anti-gravity.
Yeah, you got that roller coaster feeling where your balls just go out your mouth. And I was like, huh? And, oh, don't die, please! But it was so fucking fun, man. It's the best.
I think I've only gone 124. I
Yeah.
think that's the fastest, and that was coming back from Canada. I still had my digital dash in kilometers, and I wanted to see 200. Yeah. So I saw 200, and then I was like, all right, we're cool. And that was with Hana Sleep in the Back.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Sarah's sitting next
Was that
to me.
in the GTI?
Yeah, and then
Nice.
Ryan and Hannah were in the back, and Hannah was asleep, and she woke up about 5 minutes later. I'm like, yeah, we're just doing like 200K.
I think I hit 120.
And she's German, so she actually
like
understands what that means.
120-ish in my dad's Audi on I-90. I think I-90, like, because I-90, it's so out there. They already pretty much post like 80 miles an hour. So you're like, might as well double it. And you just drive so fucking fast. It is. I wouldn't recommend doing it all the time, but it is definitely fun once or twice to get to that level where you're like, oh, time's moving at a different speed. Life looks a lot different.
Well,
it is weird when things start to like warp when you're going that fucking fast.
Well, like the MR2 was fun because I mean I did legit track days with that and stuff.
Yeah.
And on the front straight, I was doing 105, 110.
Yeah.
And then hard on the brakes and turn all the way 180 degree like wide left hand turn. And I mean, I put the brakes in myself, and I had the lines done and like bled professionally because I didn't want to die.
Yeah.
But it's still a fun process when it's like, I did these brakes.
Yeah.
Hopefully they work.
Please.
Hopefully they're not fading.
Please do a good job. Yeah. What don't you have like some story about getting from Everett to Marysville insanely fast?
Yeah, I don't remember what the time was, but I feel like it was 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, some shit like that. Like we were hauling ass. Like as soon as we hit 164th on the freeway, it was like red line.
So so you had like how many people in the car, and you guys are just like,
I think there was 3 of us.
yeah, from what I've been told,
I think it was like me, Ryan, and Danny or some shit like that.
yeah, and they're just driving, and everyone is looking out the window for cops, just checking to see if there's cops, and they literally did like that drive at that speed, from 164th
to
202.
128th, I think was the exit. Not 128th in Everett, but there's like
like Donna's truck stop area, right? Or like maybe the one before.
I think it was the one right before.
Yeah, but from 164th to Tulalip, for people who are in Washington, that's a pretty good distance. And
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Hauling.
I did from my parents' house to North Everett, where the yard is now, in 12 minutes. I think it says
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think on the on Google it says it should be like 25 minutes or something.
Oh shit.
And that was Lowell Larimer at like 80.
And then you hear those people who are like, why do you drive so fast? It's only going to take like a couple minutes off your thing, or it's going to cut my time in fucking half.
Yeah. I'm gonna look it up. I want accurate data on here.
That's
I think mine was
insanely
13
crazy,
minutes. 13 feels right.
That's insane.
That was a lot of fun though. That was one of the times. I think it was like the first time we hit 120.
Well, it's like you were saying something. You were reading this book. What was that book about? That was like about adrenaline.
Oh, the catching fire thing.
Yeah.
The altered states and pro athletes and shit.
Yeah, talk about that book a little bit. You just got done reading it. So.
Talk about that.
You do this thing where we both do the thing where we like talk about something like people know what it is already.
Yeah.
We gotta like elaborate heavily on some stuff because there is people who don't talk. Me and you talk in the other rooms of the house, not on microphone, fairly often. So
So I just read this book, Catching Fire or Stealing Fire. Stealing Fire. Catching Fire is the fucking Hunger Games book,
Get
isn't
your
it?
own fire. Probably.
But Stealing Fire, and it's
Catching
about
Fire is a book about that Buddhist guy who just lit himself on fire
in Tiananmen Square.
Yeah.
You mean he didn't just do that for the Rage Against the Machine album?
God damn it! But it's about altered states of consciousness, both drug induced and like meditation or, like action sports is a way to do it. Like, and there was a section saying that action sports people use gravity, as in like G forces from speed, or zero G from catching air, or tight turns and stuff like that, to alter your state of consciousness and induce a flow state. So they had this one study where Red Bull and I keep forgetting the fucking center's name, but it's like the Ethesian Center or some shit like that. They're studying flow state and altered states of consciousness. And they came together and they did this thing with the CEOs from Google, I think. And they had like this giant fucking swing. And they were measuring the brain waves when they would get to stall out upside down. And then this one dude just stalled out and then did a loop and another loop and stalled out and went backwards. Like, he went all over the fucking place. And they like were able to capture a picture of what flow state looks like because of that. It's just really cool shit.
Just because this dude's a psycho, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he also like kiteboards and I think skydives, and like he does all kinds of action sporty shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's...
Well, it's like you get yourself into a point of certain things where you're in so much danger that you have to make...
You have to have that heightened sense of awareness.
Like, your body is in, like, half fight, half flight.
Yeah.
And so you're making these decisions, like, subconsciously. Like, your body understands your muscle memory at a certain point, and it's predicting how to survive a scenario, it seems.
It's like when you're in an airplane and you think about if it's going to crash, like, could I grab onto a tree branch? The
answer is no.
Last week survived. When the elevator crashed to the bottom floor, he jumped at the perfect second.
Oh, dude. I know that scenario.
I think the Mythbusters busted that one.
Yeah, probably. So you looked up the time. What was it?
21 minutes is what it says at 3 in the morning. Like, I there was traffic now, so it said 25, but it says 21 with no traffic.
You're shaving time, man.
Yeah.
Speed demon.
It's so much
And then
fun.
I was going too fast and got pulled over doing that one time, and we came around the corner heading at each other, so he didn't have me on gun or anything. So
oh fuck!
But it was enough.
No good.
It was enough to get me arrested, probably.
Oh, holy shit!
I mean, being that far over is reckless driving, and it can get you arrested and impounded. So, not a good idea.
Been lucky they've never been caught. That's for sure.
He basically said, "We both know you were going too fast," and I'm like, "All right, cool. I'm clear." But also, I should probably not do that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'll touch your wiener and just.
God damn.
Doing scary stuff is fun.
I love it.
I think I can understand why some people like scary movies. I fucking hate them. You like them.
I like them when they're good. Like, I don't like the jump scare shit too much. I like like you have fucked up dreams and it fucks up your whole week afterward, like, because the story was so good.
Oh yeah.
I like those kinds.
I like the thriller-esque ones. Like they had that movie with that Jim from The Office. Maybe.
Quiet Place?
Yeah, that one was fucking awesome. And there's another one, It Comes at Night, that came out recently. It's just pretty much these people just in a house the whole time.
Yeah.
But it's just the psychological...
Yeah, because humans are fucking scary.
Yeah, that part is exciting to me. And, like, you don't know what the disease is. You don't know if this disease is actually an entity, if it's just a disease. Or if there's something that's, like, actively trying to kill these people, or if it's just, like...
Or if one dude's just crazy and is poisoning the minds of the
Or if it's just like a
audience.
rampant infection and people are scared of like this thing.
Yeah.
You never see any entity. That's like a Rogan. I've never seen American Werewolf in London, but Rogan talks about American Werewolf in London and like that it was scary because you only see the werewolf like for barely like half a second.
Well, same
Or
thing with
at
Blair
all.
Witch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That fucking movie is scary as fuck.
I know. It's funny because I'm completely indifferent about scary movies, but
Yeah.
I tend to only watch them with you.
Yeah.
Who hates them?
Because we have fucking ladies upstairs.
Oh.
Like, they tell us what to do.
Well, sort of, but the thing is, Sarah doesn't really like scary movies either. But for some
Really,
reason,
I feel like Chelsea and Sarah always are
it's
they're
weird,
the
though, 'cause
catalyst. Because Ben
she-
doesn't like scary movies either.
she like sort of likes scary movies, but if it gets too scary, she just takes her glasses off. So I mean, like,
Oh, I
really,
can't
does
see-
she
it's a
like
scary blur?
Really, does she like scary movies? I don't know.
This shit all the time.
Oh yeah,
Just cover your
I'd sit
face.
there with a blanket like this. Like I'd gradually just get into a smaller and smaller ball on the couch.
I just get angry. Like, I legit get angry.
Yeah.
Like, when people scare me at work, I literally just go, "Why?" Like, that's my
That's what you
response.
do all the time.
Yeah, I know. Just like, when I'm angry or when I'm startled, it doesn't matter. Like,
When he's waking up in the morning.
what? I'm trying to sleep. Why? No, like, Chelsea will come in if I'm hitting the heavy bag, and she'll open the garage door. I can't hear it because the music's happening, and she'll just be like, "Dylan," and I'll just turn around and be like, "Why?" And then I immediately want to attack her. Like, my anger just comes out, and I'm just like, "I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna beat my wife." No, domestic abuse is real.
Oh god.
If you scare me, I'm gonna
I mean, I feel like that's one of the only reasonable times for.
Yeah, it's fight or
beating
flight.
someone
I
up.
mean,
Yeah.
you know.
It's human nature.
At least we know it was only a tad bit of flight and then fight immediately afterwards. But that's pretty consistent because it's always why and then anger. Like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of whoever does it. Colby will scare me at work and I'll be like, why? And he's like, I'll scare people all the time. I'm such an asshole. Like, I love scaring people.
Just not being scared.
I hate getting scared. Yeah, like, I had this old coworker. She doesn't work with me anymore, but her name's Aslan. And I'd just be like, Azzy! And I'd just, like, be right behind her. Like, literally, just you turning away, I could do that. And
Yeah.
she'd get scared again and again and again. And so I do it, like 10 times a day. But if she would have done it to me once, I would have been like, jump!
She learned real quick.
Yeah. Dude.
God damn it.
Fun things. Like,
My dad used to scare the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
Like I have this vivid memory. There's this fucking alien mask that we had. It's this green alien mask with these little suction cup fucking things. And he had it on, and he was hiding behind all these like garbage bags full of clothes that were going to Goodwill.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom asked me to go out to the shed where he was to go grab something. And he just slowly gets out of the fucking garbage bags. And I remember the reaction was like that frozen. I was so fucking pissed.
Dude, if I knew Chelsea was coming home, I'd like go get under the covers and make it look like there's a bunch of pillows, and you just walk in.
I don't know why. It's so satisfying to scare people.
You know what's semi-similar to that, but also hilarious? Is sometimes I would just sit on the bed and I'd just pull my balls out of like the bottom of my pants, and then she'd just like walk in and be like, "Hey, what's going on?" And she's like, "Hey, how's it going?" What the fuck?
Surprise!
It's so fucking funny, man.
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
There's a lot of that in the army.
It turns out 9 times out of 10, girls don't want to see your balls.
Yeah.
It's probably the
Dudes
least
show each
attractive
other
thing.
their balls more often than like other.
I was on
can't
the wrestling
even-
team, I know.
I can't even
Well,
count
you've
how many
goated
times
me
I've
quite a
seen
few
the
times.
fucking
Yes.
goat and the bat wing and just fucking balls hanging out of a zipper hole. Like,
Yeah. The sea anemone, different
Jesus
stuff. Yeah,
Christ.
Allegedly, Colby will do it to me at work.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, for any Boeing managers listening to this, allegedly it's happened at work. But allegedly, we used to work on the same, like on opposite sides of the access hole.
Yeah.
And Colby, like, he'd just be like, "Hey, Dylan," and I'd be like, "What?" And I'd turn over and he'd just like pull half his dick out of his coveralls, and I'm like, "God damn it!" Like, it's only dudes that you can literally just react as "God damn it."
Yeah.
Like, you just
Oh,
like,
I'm gay now."
You got me, I'm gay." Guess I got stuck in there.
Oh, fuck.
God damn it. Oh, I had a train of thought, but I totally fucking forgot what it was.
Scary shit.
Oh, yeah, but yeah, like, I find the funnest things that I do in life are all the things that are semi-dangerous. Like,
Oh, yeah.
climbing like I'm such a fucking child. Like I still like climbing trees and
bridges and whatever else that can be
Climbing
climbed
in
near you.
general.
yeah, like when I'm hanging out with
Parkour.
if Mariah's around, like it's amped more because it terrifies her and it makes her feel like stressed out. In the same way that I show her death metal or deathcore because she's just like, she makes the face. She has a face where she's like,
Where it's physically painful.
Mariah is really fun to scare in general.
it's so fucking hilarious. But so she's around, like we're on a hike at like Oyster Dome, and I was like, let me go like get as close to the fucking edge as I could, like, hang off of the edge of this 100-foot cliff, and she'd just be like, Dylan, please stop, please. And I'm just like, what? I'm not doing anything. It's not a big deal. Like just torturing people in that way is the funnest, but also just like.
So if you one day die from doing something like that, at least we'll know that you were in your most joyful
for
place.
sure, I was happy. Well, that's when I would go, like when I started mountain biking last year, there was like a lot of like crashing.
Yeah.
Like I'd crash and I'm hanging out with Devin. Devin's like he's like a cautious, very like, he's
Analytically cautious.
yeah, he's like he's a very analytical person. He's like where's his pants with a belt? Like he's just like an upstanding gentleman.
I wear my pants with a belt.
Me too, but I'm just saying.
Is it one of those nice brown braided ones,
Yeah, it
or
is,
like
yes, it's brown.
very sensible?
Oh, okay.
It's actually, he has a belt buckle too. No, I'm just kidding. But he's just like a very sensible, like cautious, safe. He's an adult.
Yeah.
I am not an adult.
Okay.
At all. And so, like, when we mountain bike, I'd be like, Devin, you got to go do this run. It's really fun. He's like, I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. But me, having hung out with you and all of our cousins for so long.
Jump!
And life was so chaotic that, like, you had to find that was the fun part. Like, you had to turn it into something cool. And so, like, whenever I crash, like, really fucking hard, I'm immediately laughing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, oh, and then, like, I'm bloody, and people are like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, dude. And I was like, this is more fun because this happened.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
there's some sort of consequence for what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that makes it, better to me if I have,
I feel like it pushes your progression, too, because it's like, that fucking hurt.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to try even harder to do the same thing without doing that.
Yeah.
Like that story I was telling you where I fucking slid backwards upside down the north face of fucking Baker on the moguls. Like I was laughing the whole way down, even though I couldn't stop and I was upside down and snow in my face and shit. But it was,
like Colby is always weirded out by it because he sees me take heavy slams.
Yeah.
And he just like, are you good? And I'm like, yeah, you're totally fine. Like my ability to endure pain is very high because like my dad roughhoused with us forever.
Oh, yeah.
Like just
from the womb.
Jiu-jitsu, I have like a natural state of calmness while doing it when a lot of other people can have like panic.
Yeah.
But it's just because I think it's because of the way that our childhood was with like so many just like older like cousins beating our asses and shit. Like we just get a little bit tougher. But like when I didn't have a helmet, like a couple times ago, me and Colby were up on Stevens and I took a slam straight on my neck, like straight to my head. I did a yard sale and I went wham, and I just like snapped up and I was like, oh, keep going. He's like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, dude, totally fine. And then like later I was like, oh, my neck really hurts. And he's like, yeah, dude, you fucking ate hella dick.
Yeah, I can't beat up my cousin.
Yeah,
he just took third in the country and junior college wrestling.
Oh shit!
His cousin Mason looks like an Armenian who like was shot with buckets of steroids. He's so jacked.
He's 165 pounds of muscle.
Just solid.
He's not like
muscle.
super tall though. Like he's shortish. Not like short, but he's
like 5'8", 5'9".
Yeah.
I mean, like he's a couple inches shorter than me, and I mean, but 165 pounds with a sweet mustache.
But like 165 pounds of tank.
Yeah.
Like he thick.
I mean, he won the freestyle junior Pan American Championship. So
Jesus,
beat a bunch of South Americans.
And so for people who have never tried to wrestle or do jiu-jitsu or grappling sports, wrestling is the hardest sport on the planet. It's fucking brutal. So like MMA fighters, UFC fighters, like people who are like the best in the world at combat sports, half of them still skip wrestling practice because it's fucking brutal.
Yes.
Wrestlers are the toughest people like that there is. If you see somebody with cauliflower ear, walk away. Like you don't need to either be friends with them, or if they're at a bar and they're mouthing off at you, leave. Yes. You're gonna get fucked up.
Yeah,
dude.
well, I mean, I was never that great of a wrestler, but like in high school, I was talking to Spencer Ankney, and he's like, you couldn't hold me down. And Spencer's like 6'4", 250 pounds, like big baseball player. And I'm like, yeah,
He's fucking huge.
if we start from the ground, I can hold you down. Like I'll hold you down until you tire out.
Yeah.
And so we went and did it. And I held him down for about a minute before he's like, all right, yeah, I can't get up.
Win.
That's one of the things about those kind of things are like boxing is like a thing where there's so much variability. You can get fucked up by anyone in boxing. You can be incredibly good. Okay, Floyd Mayweather's probably not going to get fucked up by somebody.
Yeah.
But if that dude's huge, it's possible.
Well, there's
that dude
always
can still
a
beat his
chance.
ass. Yeah.
There's always a chance.
Whereas like with wrestling and jiu-jitsu, it's not really that way.
Yeah, I mean,
if you
it's
have a better
skill.
skill, like if you have a higher level of skill, you're going to dominate that person.
I mean, there's a chance to get caught in anything. I mean,
you were there
things
when
happen.
similar thing happened with me and Spencer, right? Weren't you?
When-
Were you there? He was at a party here one time, and he was like, because I'm always training, he always wants to talk to me about fighting and then tell me stories about him knocking people out, which is like hilarious. And I want to hear them, of course. But then I'm like, dude, if we ever got in a fight, I was like, I wouldn't box with you at all. He's like, wow, you're like so much better. And I was like, have you seen how fucking big your hands are and how big your body is? Like, I just wouldn't. I was like, I would immediately take you down and I would take your back and I would choke you. And he's like, I don't think you could take me down. And I was like, there's mats right there. And
I will show you.
and so I immediately took him down and I took his back and I choked him. And then he was like, oh, that was fucking, what? No way. Let's try again. And I immediately did the same exact thing. I just took him down and I took his back and I choked him again. And I was just like, that's the only benefit I have. This is the only way that in a fight that I would win is I have to go to like, you're playing chess and I have to go play Skyrim. Like I'm going to a whole different fucking world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is like people boo in the UFC when they're just laying on each other on the ground. But I mean, that's
There's
a
a
smart way to fight.
Yeah.
Well,
You're
and there's
not
a
getting
lot
punched
going
in the
into
face
that,
at that
too.
point. You know, that's the smart way to fight.
Yeah.
If you really think about it.
Yeah, and there's also people who do that who aren't boring at all.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
you
there
watch
are people.
Khabib, like you haven't been watching the UFC recently.
But I mean, he laid on Connor and it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, he just like
He beat
takes
him up,
people
too,
down and
but I mean,
just
he laid
fucking
on him.
smashes them with his hands. Yeah, like he just like
Yeah.
just slowly destroys them with his fist by just like riding their backs.
Yeah, I was over in Wenatchee. I had to walk a mile in the cold to go and find the bar that had,
Did you
had the
watch it?
fights
Nice.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, so there is like people coming up that are like, but wrestling is, you have to, if you've been a part of it, you definitely can be interested by it. I can understand how sometimes you're like, oh my God. But having like learned about it at all or tried it, there's so much more respect for it. Because like the hardest thing I've probably ever done in training is like called either King of the Hill or Shark Tank, when you just get on the mats and two people go. And if you take that person down, then you go against another person, a fresh person, and you just keep cycling through it. It's fucking brutal.
a nightmare.
If you
Yep.
if you're good at like if you're reasonably good at martial arts and you want to throw up, go do Shark Tank because you will win a few rounds, and then once you hit like the fourth round, you're like, oh my God, I've been exploding with every possible muscle that I have, and I'm having tunnel vision, and I'm gonna throw up all over the fucking mats.
Yep.
It's so gnarly, dude.
Oh yeah. We did that a lot in Germany.
It's so brutal, dude.
Fuck that shit.
We used to do that.
We did it in gi too,
Fuck.
with the doors
You're-
closed and the heat on.
That's called retarded.
Yeah.
Giant thick pajamas.
That's like a drop from your mom's house. Anytime someone says retarded, they just say like, "Use an R-word." It's like a drop. I don't say it very often, but that's funny as hell. Anytime Chelsea says something about someone being dumb, like she doesn't even have to say the word. I just go like, "You use an R-word." Immediately makes her laugh. So, dude, you're having a fucking child.
I am. That is, that's happening in July.
Oh shit.
That's so crazy.
And to everyone out there, we're registered at Amazon and Bye Bye Baby and Target. Yeah.
Bye Bye Baby sounds like a bad name for a place for baby stuff.
Yeah,
Sounds like
it does, but
a
it's
post-abortion shop.
Oh my God.
well, it's not that. It's it basically it's owned by the same.
Lord! That was so dark. Oh my God, that was good. Oh, I'm proud of you. Good job.
It's owned by the same people that own like Bed Bath and Beyond, so it's set up kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like you know how, so you know how like it's all set up in like a weird circle, and they have all the stuff and different stuff. It's the same setup, but all just baby stuff.
Oh, okay.
And it's down South Center.
Okay.
So it's a pain to get to, but they have a website.
Yeah.
All right.
So, how was the banging?
Always good.
That's probably the funnest part, right? You were like, I got to build this thing. At any point, did that become daunting, though? Were you
No.
like, no, you're just like, okay.
No. I mean, well, I'm in and out of town for work all the time, so I mean, it's not
True.
like I'm.
You got
I mean,
breaks.
yeah, I mean, not that it's needed anyways, but yeah, I'd like. There's no dauntingness
She's
to
like
that.
yelling at you, like, we need to make the baby right now. You're like, well, at least be kind and nice to me, please.
No, it was more of just like she felt like it was taking too long, but I'm like, it's literally been like a month. Like it didn't it didn't happen the first month. Okay, like it's okay. And she's like, it's just taking so long, and I'm like, we're gonna try again next month. Like they said after you get your IUD out, like it's gonna take a month.
Yeah.
Like you should take a month and wait, and then try the next month anyways.
Yeah.
And it worked like that next month. So I mean, like,
So-
really, it didn't take that long.
Yeah.
It's
Somebody-
just it
yeah,
felt
that
like
one
forever
the
for her.
prescribed amount of time.
Yeah,
1 month doesn't seem like very long.
No,
I mean,
it's-
like, I can understand with, like, if that's all you're thinking about. Like,
Yeah.
it can be, like, daunting
Yeah.
for
yeah.
sure.
When you're peeing on sticks and figuring out exactly when you should have sex, and like peeing on pregnancy tests all the time, seeing if you're pregnant, and then I mean,
Yeah. But there's,
then-
like, a lot of girls
and it's
are
all
having
you're
to do,
thinking
like-
about.
There's a lot of girls that are, like, having to do, like, IVF treatment. and
Yeah,
stuff like
exactly.
that.
I mean, like that. It could be. There's a lot of people that actually it takes a long time and
Children
takes
of
a lot of
Man's right
effort.
around the corner. Have you seen that shit? Where nobody can have babies anymore?
No.
It's
got
a concept in a few movies, but I don't know.
Clive. God damn it! What's
Clive
his name?
Owen?
Clive Owen in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. It's a good movie. It's
What
like
is
the
it about?
dystopian future deal.
Oh, okay. Just everyone. Is it because, like,
Just people are
cereal
in,
or something?
No, just people are infertile, and Britain's
Too
like
much gluten?
yeah, all the gluten. Vaping causes impotence. No,
If everyone would have just ate those fucking Oodies.
what is that?
Wasn't that the name of the bread? The gluten-free bread?
Oodies?
I thought it was called Oodies.
I know what you're kind of talking about, but I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm not going to
It's
try.
like this sprouted bread.
I think I know what you're talking about, but Ezekiel bread's like the sprouted bread. That's
Yeah,
the
but I
only thing
think the
can
name
of.
of it is Oodie.
Yeah.
Oodies.
I think you just like making that noise.
I feel like a Jawa from Star Wars.
Oh Jesus!
That's why
Okay.
people can't have babies now. It's because
Yeah.
of gluten. It's the fucking gluten, man. It's killing the babies.
Oh fuck!
So you're not due. You're pregnant. You're due. When is the baby gonna come out of your puss?
Baby is coming end of July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
July 28th is the due date, so we're definitely hoping that we can keep all that together until after 4th of July. It's a very important holiday.
We gotta start planning for 4th of July.
I know.
July already.
I know.
And the second,
The second.
we're doing double parties.
Because your birthday.
Yeah.
Going hard on your birthday.
Probably not.
2nd, 4th, and 5th, because we do
Second.
because the 5th is always like
Aaron's gonna get fluid sexual again, real
yeah,
quick.
That's
Nah.
that's the one that we host, as long as we don't have a small child and are stuck in a hospital at that point. But that's our pool party. We
That was
just
a good time.
we
I
hang
just
out.
passed out in the sun. It was
Yeah,
fantastic.
we had 3 extra Italians at my house. I mean,
Fucking nap. Ugh. Dude,
Spare
naps
Italian.
outside. There's nothing better than naps outside.
Until you get sunburnt.
Sleeping outside is I was in the shade, I think. But
Oh,
It was like warm, but I wasn't in the actual.
yeah, it was stupid hot last year though.
Yeah, it was. It had like that little pool. Everyone was hanging out in it. It was fucking.
Yeah, the
great,
pool was
man.
freezing cold, but it was stupid hot outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very fun. For sure. You got to get like a fucking real set up
Mm-hmm.
above ground pool. Just
Yeah.
go full white trash on it, dude. It's so sick.
I mean, I live in Everett, so
Yeah.
fair enough.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Has that it? Is there any way that just the like your perception, you're already thinking like I'm gonna have this child in a few months? Is there any way that that's like changed your frame of mind to this point? Like even not having the baby yet, like how has that affected you so far?
I mean, I'm having a baby girl, which isn't, I mean, what I planned for, but you
Yeah.
know, it's not like it's a 50-50 guess on anything.
Yeah.
But so I mean, that's gonna be different because I mean we had a boy's name picked out if we were gonna have a boy and stuff. So now we're going through picking names and we're going through all of the stuff that's involved in that, and I'm super stoked about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just feels different with a girl for some reason.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited, and we're working on the nursery and all that junk. But
Why do you think it feels different because it's a girl?
I don't know. It just it feels.
More protective, maybe.
Yeah, I think something about being
It's
more
like a
protective
safety
and
issue.
You're just
Yeah.
already stressed out with with all
The
the
second
shit.
they were like, "It's a girl," he just started screaming, "Me too! Me too!" You get away from it. He like pulled out the shotgun. He's like,
Get the fuck away from her!
Get the fuck away from her! Yeah. It's like
I can see that though. Like, just instantly changes your whole perception. Like, oh fuck, now I got to worry about all this other shit.
I think I initially want a girl, just because I just love children in general. I think they're fucking hilarious. Like last night we were at La Pomera and just like boxing with Owen is so fun. Like he just like they're like they're moving GI Joes like that you feed. You just give them food and then they become like play toys. It's the fucking best.
Yeah.
They just want to wrestle and shit. And if I have a daughter who's like really girly and doesn't want to wrestle, I'll just abort her at like 5 years old. Yeah. But
Bye bye baby.
I voted for late term abortion, and what I mean is like killing children at 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Super late, sir.
Yeah, like a 60-month abortion.
God damn. We're gonna get some flack for this episode.
Fuck it.
I said the R word. Use the R word, and I
You didn't say bitch yet, though, so I think you're doing okay.
Didn't do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a little bitch for not saying bitch.
Oh, and we're done.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Episode 13.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I see Ray with his daughter, and it seems pretty cool.
Exactly. I mean, like, I'm excited for a lot of these things and stuff, but like, I don't like American Girl dolls.
Yeah.
And like,
Just don't ever show her what those are.
I have no choice. Like my mom and my sister and stuff. Like I have no choice.
You need to pull him aside and be like, if you fucking even mention that shit,
Well, that's why like
you will never see us again.
He can't do that because they're an ultimate support system. So he can be like, anytime he wants a date night or whatever, like what have you. It's just like, and he has like 18 people who are there with arms.
Oh, okay.
They do it to people who aren't their own kin. They took care of me.
Yeah, Dylan moved in for a month, 2 months. I don't know.
At least
a reasonable amount of time senior year of high school.
I was living with Nathan at the time, and Robin moved in.
Oh.
Robin is one of my least favorite people on the planet. So I just was like, I can't do this anymore. And so I decided I was going to live out of my car. And then Jordan was like, hey, I have this mattress that I have sex on. You can sleep on it. And I was like,
The sex mattress.
okay, cool.
Its name was Ground Bed, but yeah, I had a mattress that tucked underneath my bed, and then basically, I think it was actually after the Crystal Castles show that we went to. Like, it was 2 or 3 in the morning by the time we got home, and then you just stayed the night, and then you just kind of didn't leave for like for like 2 months.
Well, his mom just started being like, hey, Dylan, what do you like for groceries? And I was like, oh, just... You guys are letting me all that stuff. No, she's like, no, what do you like? Like, I will buy you food. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I didn't know that white picket fence families also had like a room for orphans to just like come in and hang out too.
Oh,
you guys did that to me also. I think like those kind of people, those are like the most important people like that. Enabled me to be like, oh, this is what a loving like community and family is like. Like people who just like are like, I got you. You're part of this crew now.
Yeah.
Like they jumped me into the gang
Blood in, blood out.
with pre-cooked chicken strips and dude, it was fucking.
And Mad Dog 2020.
It was,
That's a few years later.
yeah. But no, it was like it was very beneficial, like a very dark time, for sure.
Yeah.
Being able to spend time with them, and I just became like. Nobody asked me to, but I just became like the housemaid because I was like,
You're like the house elf.
I was indebted. Like I was just like I learned at your guys' house how to clean.
Yeah, because Christina was fucking
Christina
all
was
about
super fucking meticulous, and so now I am similar in some ways. Like I'm still not. I still like take my pair of jeans off and keep them at the like by my bed.
Yeah,
but all other stuff I'm pretty like
everything in its place.
Really clean. Like every Saturday, even if I work, the second I come home, it's like spot clean the whole fucking living room because I just don't want to see shit in here at all.
Yeah.
But you guys taught me that, and then that was like I figured out that was my way that I processed my depression was through cleaning, and
well, it's something you can control and something you can make better.
yeah, and still now today I still really fucking love cleaning just because it is an immediate relief for me to be able to see something that's broken and then it immediately is fixed afterwards.
Well, I feel like clutter and messiness is also a sign, like a symptom of depression almost.
Yeah.
Like, I'm too lazy to fucking take these cans upstairs, or I'm too lazy to fucking wash my bowl, or just shit like that.
Well, when you talk about that kind of stuff, I'm still not very good at it. We don't wash dishes there.
What the fuck is that? We use paper everything.
We just tell Tyler to do it. He's like, I haven't eaten in 6 days. Well, just do the dishes.
Just do the
Shut the fuck up.
It's good to see nothing's changed.
Will you just stop? That's literally what I do, though, is I just feed him in exchange for him to do the dishes.
Yeah. Hey,
So
there's some food out here. You can have some.
I make enough food, and
then you wait until he takes a
bite.
bite. And then you say, "Hey, do the dishes after you finish eating."
I've streamlined the process. I make him a plate and I bring it to his bedroom and I go, "Here's this food," and he goes, "Thanks," and I go, "Do the dishes." Got him.
Oh, got him.
He has to do the dishes, man. I don't want to do that shit.
Yeah.
Make him do it. He's like what, 20 something, living in my house.
21. Remember, we actually took him to the bar.
Oh yeah, we did do that. And then he bitched out after like fucking an hour and a half. Not even an hour and a half. He was like, go home.
Yeah, my friend has to leave.
You're not even like, you're supposed to get like at least close to throwing up.
Yeah.
Come on.
I feel like it's
Yeah.
not a 21st birthday party unless you
I
black
didn't throw
out.
up. I didn't throw up at mine.
Did you black out though?
No.
Oh.
I think Kevin took it really easy on me.
Mm.
I had a shitload of fun. Like I had the most fun. Like my 21st was incredibly enjoyable, but I did not throw up.
I blacked out and threw up.
Really? Who took you to yours? Were your friends 21 at that point?
I think it was a house party.
Oh, really?
Or it might have just been another time where I blacked out and threw up. I don't really remember what my 21st birthday
Yeah, we
was.
went to Azul in Mill Creek with my friend Brianna and Kevin and Chelsea, and they all bought me so I had like 3 drinks there. And then we drove back to the apartment, and I was still hammered. Like I was already drunk.
Yeah.
I have a terrible tolerance. Like my tolerance is below
Non-existent.
regular tolerance, like below regular life. Like
Yeah.
I need like a drop of alcohol, and I'm like, I'm full buzz. And then after that, we went to, I think, the lodge, and we started getting really drunk. And then that's when I just start having fun and start talking to like everyone who's at the bar.
Yeah.
Just 'cause I'm super social, and then when I get drunk, I get more social. It just ultimate annoying louder Dylan comes out. I'm just like, I have to be as funny as I can be, and it always seems to work out really well, which is great. And then by the end of the night, we were at the Diamond Knot, and my eyes were doing this thing, and I was like taking the pulled pork
Tater
tots
tots.
and like trying to aim them into my mouth. And I was like, oh, these are so fucking good. Oh my God.
If only I could get them in my mouth.
This is the best.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I don't remember my 21st birthday party. If it's the time I'm
blacked
thinking
out.
about, then I woke up on the bathroom floor with puke right next to my face and the shower running. And that's...
Jesus.
Yeah. It was real bad.
I
And
don't
I was
think went to
naked.
yours.
I didn't really do anything that
You
much.
did- Yeah. We've had a few like debaucherous nights of drinking, but not like on 21 run.
No, not particularly.
That night that we called Sarah to come pick us up.
Oh, that was a good
You
one.
and Ben got super drunk, and then
Was that no? That would have been election night then. No, it was. I don't think it was that night. I think it was when Kevin came back from the army.
Yeah.
one of the
It was
times.
on Christmas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
so
was
we
one of
went.
the- yeah.
It was Kevin was there. Kevin Pancakes. I got this girl's number for pancakes. Like this girl's like super gorgeous, and when I get drunk, I love playing wingman. I fucking adore it because it's like my excuse to like be fully me. Like I could just be like, there's no filter. I can just like talk to this person and be like, oh, you're really pretty and you seem super cool, but like my buddy over here. Like I just like immediately like. I just like I've gotten Caleb 2 different numbers. I think actually, like 2 different people. But it's just really fun to do that, and we got super fucked up. And then Kevin was just like his eyes were doing the thing. He's like, "I gotta go," and he left. And then when we left, we were going to go to McDonald's, and you always know you have a successful night of drinking, or at least I do, is if I throw up in a bush. So, like, we were ordered food, and we were about to sit down, and I was like, I'm going to go outside for a second. And I went outside, and I just puked on the tree in front of McDonald's, which, like, 4 years before that, I had puked in the same parking lot, just on a different bush, in the exact same McDonald's. Oh, well, that night that I did that, I was hanging out, was when I lived at Nathan's after I'd lived with you.
Yeah.
And Ed and Nathan come over. Different Nathan Vanderpool and Ed. And I had already just been, like, drinking by myself like a psycho.
Like a fucking depressed alcoholic.
I wasn't depressed, though. I think I was just hanging out, and I knew they were coming over, so I was like, I'm keeping the buzz on. And so I had, like, half a bottle of Maker's Mark, and then I had half a bottle of Black Label. Mm-hmm. Very different tiers of whiskey. I mean, not super different, but definitely different. Yeah. And I think I pounded the whole bottle of Black Label, and or the half of the bottle, and I was like pretty tipsy. Like I was, I was. Whew. And we drove to Bob Ehrman Park, which is off like the Snohomish River, kinda, or at least in that little area. And you walk down in the dark, and then we walked all the way to the river, and I had the other bottle of Maker's Mark, but like on the drive there, they were playing Slipknot, and I was so hammered that I was just like headbanging and laughing as hard as I could. Like I was just like, "This is the best thing I've ever heard in my life!" Ah! Like I was losing my fucking mind. And they're like smoking pot, so they're just like. And then eventually they started to take like some pulls of the bottle, but like I ended up getting so drunk I drank like another quarter of that Maker's Mark one, and I threw the bottle on the rocks in Bob Ehrman's. Like I threw it as far as I could, just to, like so I could hear it shatter in the pitch black. And then we went to McDonald's, and I put a straw down my throat to make myself throw up in this bush, and then I just faced a bunch of burgers, and I was like, that was amazing. So,
God damn it.
You guys got any other stuff you want to talk about?
I'm good. We're at
Trump's wall? No, I'm just kidding.
We're at an hour 20.
Are we? Holy shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
Quick.
Did
nice.
the damn thing.
Well, I don't even remember what this podcast has been about, but...
cars, babies, late-term abortions.
Yeah.
He goes on. This has been the 13th episode of the Best Friends Ask Why podcast.
Get it right.
Jordan Tisdale. Thank you for coming.
Best Friends Ask Ghost.
Best Friends Ask Ghost.
Thank you guys for listening. We love you. We'll talk into your ear holes later.
Whoop. Bye.
Thanks again for listening to today's episode of the Best Friends Ask Why podcast.
If you like what you heard today, we'd really appreciate it if you could go on whatever service you use to listen or watch the podcast and leave us a review.
5-star reviews are what helps spread the word and build a community around our podcast.
If you have any cool guest ideas, questions, or just want to reach out, hit us up on our social media at BFAY. That's BFAWHY.
One last time, thank you very much, and we look forward to hearing from you.